Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this special edition of the Bronx Muchachos podcast, brought to you by 5 Reasons Network. I'm your host, Mark, and we got some boys with us today. We got Alex.
Code.
In the hoodie, no less. And we got Danny.
What's good, everybody? Wait, Alex, what's cold? Hold on. You guys are Floridians now, so I want to know what cold is.
I'm in my house, and I looked at the thermostat because I refused to put the heater on, and it made the house into the 50s. So yeah, I'm in shorts in my office in a hoodie. So it's cold. It's cold.
Okay, that's acceptable.
It's cold. And I refuse to put the heater on because I'm cheap. I'm sorry. It needs to be in the 40s for the heater to go on.
Oh, so the 50s is where you cut the cord, right?
No. 40s. It has to go in the 40s, and I'll put it up there.
I got
I've learned. That's that New York in me.
All right. But everyone listen, you guys know the drill. Rate, subscribe, like, give us a review on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon. You got Odyssey, all that fun stuff. Go to our Linktree page for all deals, hood lids, Southwest, any place we got going on over there. We got our shop over there. You can buy some of the gear for the Muchachos. Link.tree/Real Bronx Muchachos. So today is always a fun day, especially on the prospect side. Today is now the International Signing Day. For years, it used to be July 2nd. After COVID, it switched over to January 15th, where anybody outside of the United States, Canada, and any of the U.S. territories like Puerto Rico can sign at the age of 16 up to about 25 years old, and there is a pool of money that each team has to sign said players. So it's not a unlimited amount of resources they have. So for the Yankees, they're about $5.3 million in change that they have, and today they signed Cuban outfielder Brandon Mayea for $4.4 million. Now, for those of you who don't know, haven't seen him on Twitter, haven't seen him on Instagram, he's got a big Instagram page. Mayea is 6 foot and 170 pounds. He's a righty swing, righty throw from Havana, Cuba, born on September 12th, 2005. Some of the things that they have for him is that he has advanced tools for his age. He has an uncommon bat speed and power, known as a mini Gary Sheffield, as a comp for everyone to think about. He's revered for his ability to impact the baseball and his innate feel for finding the barrel. Some of the other things about him is that he has at 17 years old, he has a mature frame with upside. But a lot of scouts are saying they want to see more twitchy movements and consistencies out of his game. And he's an outfielder as well. So, and a lot of people believe he can stay in center field. He runs good routes out there, but as he develops, as he gets bigger, obviously at 17, his body it's mature, but it's not like think of it as a mature body. He's not a Jason Dominguez mature body where he's possibly maxed out. So he still has a little bit of growth he has some growth in his body. There is a chance that he can move to the corner outfielders as he progresses. So for all those who want to know some of his stats on the 20/80 scale, and a lot of times we have people on here, we don't really talk about what the 20/80 scale is. It's kind of a difference it's kind of like 0 to 100, where a 20 is the worst you can get, and 80 is you're a Hall of Famer. So he has on contact, he's rated as 50, power he's rated 55, speed he's rated at 50, arm strength he's rated at 50, defense he's rated at 55. And overall, he's rated as a 55, according to MLB Pipeline. Pipeline has him as the number 9 prospect for this international signing period, but a lot of other places have him within the top 5, even upwards of top 3, all behind Ethan Salas, who's the catcher going to San Diego today. And that's a lot of it's because Ethan Salas has the ability to stay behind the plate, whereas a lot of other people might have to move off their position as of right now. So, Danny, let me throw this over to you. How do you feel about this? This is a possibility where we're getting another impact bat, another impact player in the outfield for down the line.
Yeah, man. Like, just looking at him, he is explosive. Like, that bat speed is going to play. he's kind of wiry too, athletic, like you said, 6 foot 170. But I'm excited to see where he kind of goes from here. I want to get him into our system, get him into DSL, and kind of see what he does. You know, prospects are always suspect until they kind of come to the United States and see how they do competing against their peers on this side of the water. But him being from Cuba, man, he's probably been through a lot. So I think he'll have the mental fortitude to succeed in the United States and be a big time prospect for us. Most outlets have him rated as like top 5 prospect for all the international signees in 2023. MLB Pipeline is the only oddball that has him at like number 9. So it's just like, hopefully everybody else is right and MLB Pipeline is wrong. Just to give you guys some hope, back in 2015, Vladdy Guerrero was the number 7 ranked prospect by MLB Pipeline. And he's the best dude out of that class, right along with Fernando Tatis, who's ranked number 30. So MLB Pipeline's got some work to do.
So you're basically saying don't trust MLB Pipeline.
Hey, you know,
or maybe take their stuff with a grain of salt.
Yeah, 100%. If Baseball America, Fangraphs, and everybody else is ranking them in the top 3, top 2, then, you know, hopefully they're right. Hopefully they're right. But add another dude to our, you know, we have a lot of outfield prospects right now. We have a lot. So it'll be interesting to see how he's used moving forward. If he's going to be like a trade chip or if he's going to be a legit dude that we can't get rid of over the next decade.
Yeah, I could see that. It's just I'm all for it. I'm all good. Like, it is what it is. It's the prospect. I just look at it this way. It's like, it's nice to know what we have and down the line for like 5-6 years, whatever it takes for him to see when he actually gets up there into the club to see what happens. And till then, we're just gonna be sitting down, waiting, and just doing like everybody else, watching and seeing how he progresses, and hopefully no setbacks happen from here on until he makes it to the club. And if the Yankees find some sort of setback that does happen, that he can't make it to the club, hopefully we can keep it on the hush hush and trade it to some other sucker then. Hey,
yeah, it's going to be good. I mean, that's true. But I think guys like this are good to have because you're going to turn around. We're going to have a plethora of outfielders coming in, like Danny was saying. You know, at the end of this year, we're going to have what's it called? We're going to have center fielder who's possibly not being re-signed in Bader. Left field has kind of been your stopgap as of right now. They're not, you know, you can, unless you want to say that the Brian Reynolds trade is not imminent, but is still on the burner. But I think or Max Kepler from keep hearing. But along those lines, I think the Yankees I've heard that the Yankees are pushing hard. They're pushing Spencer Jones. They're pushing Dominguez to get up to the big leagues end of this year, early next year, you know, for next year too. I mean, having those guys up there will do 2 things. One, it's going to move the salaries down. They're not going to spend as much. And then 2, it starts moving everybody else up in the system. Everyone else who's not there, they're going to be moving higher and higher because now there's openings for said people. On top of that,
I mean, but like, let's be real though, Mark. That's understandable, and that's going to be what's going to happen. That's the name of the game. Like, if age comes, you got to get rid of people. You got to move up, and you got to. It's always it's like any job. Next man up.
No, you're 100% right. But you got to remember something also is that we have someone locked in for the next 9 years at $40 million in Darren Judge.
True.
And during that time frame, 5 of those years we have Stanton as pretty much your primary DH. So two places that you can kind of hide some guys or would be able to move a guy like Judge over to take some some rest on the body is not going to happen as much. But after those 5 years, you're going to have the opening, and that's kind of like where I would say the time frame for Mayea is going to be coming up in those 5 years, where Stanton is then off the books, and Judge is there, and then Judge could be the DH and then come in and play the outfield 25 to 30% of the time. Give a young kid a break.
I don't know, dude. I'm thinking it over now. Like it's a lot of years for Judge for his build and everything like that. Like, who's to say that in the future they don't move him over to first base either? Let's be real.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I agree. I agree with it. But you never know. Like let's say that his production is out there and that we are in the area that we have no first baseman because Rizzo be gone, and then because Rizzo's not going to be here for 9 years. Let's be real. We know that. We're going to be happy if he's going to be here for the next 3 years.
I much prefer a guy like Spencer Jones at first base over Aaron Judge.
Well, I agree. I agree. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yeah. But go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
It's like I agree with what you're saying. I'm just like I'm looking into the hypothetical areas of like the worst case scenario. Things happen. We know that with the Yankees, it happens to us every time. It's like we see it. It's like look at last season. Best season in the world we're seeing, and then all of a sudden it's like we just dropped to trash the second half. Like weird things happen.
Yeah, no, for sure. But that's baseball season, right?
I know. I can't wait. For the season to start already. I'm bored.
Ready. No, yeah, for real, I'm ready for it. But in terms of like the outfield prospect, like Mark was saying. In 5 years, it may be like a Mayea in center or Dominguez on left and Spencer Jones in right. Or it could be none of those guys and we have like some, we trade for like an all-star. I mean, prospects are used as chips. I mean, Yankees hold on to their prospects pretty tightly. I mean, we could have had we keep going back to this, but we could have had Garrett Cole in 2019 instead of the Astros. If we just decided to give up Clint Frazier and Miguel Andujar, and it's like, look how both of those dudes turned out. They turned out to be like nothing, and it's frustrating in that sense. But hopefully, we evaluate these guys correctly and move them at the right time, or just bring them up to the bigs and see what they got. Like Dominguez, Spencer Jones, Volpe, Peraza, like these dudes are going to be the core of the future. Like. The prime of the years is going to be in the early to mid 20s. Like, why wait?
We have all been beating that horse right there.
100%. Look what the Braves are doing, man.
Well, the Braves are kind of setting the market where they're signing their guys to a lot of deals at a younger age, which is always smart. I mean, the Rays have kind of that model is when you're going all the way back. They did it with Longoria. They did it with a few other guys. But, they did it. And recently with Wander Franco. Wander Franco signed. You got even Tatis Jr. before everything else happened. Tatis Jr. He signed a mega deal early on. But I like the Yankees have changed their tactics in the international market where they were going and casting the big net and getting everybody and then kind of seeing what's happening. So they're getting quality possibly over quantity over quality. In the past few years, they've kind of they've identified the top guys, and they've done that where with your Dominguez's, your Roderick Arias's, now Brandon Mayea, you have top guys, and then if they're not, they're 2024, we can talk about that later. They're not in for the top guy on 2024, but 2025 is another thing. So it's a good thing because we don't draft our drafts aren't always great in the first rounds, but they're lower. You know what I mean? We draft low, so we don't get top end talent. This is how we replenish the system with top end talent.
100%. Well, the international I was going to say draft, but the international signing period is just so important to the Yankees, because without having an impact, without having the opportunity to have an impact player come to you via the draft, like being able to use our money and our resources and using it wisely becomes so paramount. That's why free agency also is big for the Yankees and trades. Like all those three things, international scouting, amateur scouting, it's so huge and it's so important to the success of the franchise that
Yep.
it's a lot better to go for the high. If you sell out for the high end, dude, and you miss out, like, yeah, it's a big miss, but at least you're trying to go get after the big guys and the Dominguez, Arias's, and Maea's. Because if one of those three hit, if one of those three is an all-star, like, I think that's a success.
100%, 100%. I agree with you. Like, you get what hit from one of those guys, or even two of those guys, you just got you just won the casino. Let's just be real.
For real.
You're walking out there, and you're like, yeah, I won it all. And it's like we all know it. As sports fans, Yankees fans, all that kind of stuff, we all know it. If you're a top team, you're not gonna get good drafts. You got to work your way somehow. Free agency, international signing. Any way it is that you got to do it in all sports, you got to do what it is. You don't have top teams doing it just by like, okay, spending all the money. Like, yeah, it used to be like that for the Yankees. It used to be that way, but times have changed, and we have all adapted. That we know now we need to evolve and work it the correct way, so that way we don't like waste our money and like, oh great, we just spent $100 million on this free agent that everyone was claiming going to be the biggest thing ever, and it's like, oh great, they're trash, yay us.
And all that stuff happens. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Danny, but you're right. A lot of that always happens, but it comes down to all the different folds. It comes down to having your scouting, like Danny was saying, scouting department, all the resources, and then player development's big too, because you can get all the best guys and then you don't develop them right. I mean, we're talking the Braves. The Braves are a perfect example. They had a lot of good talent, and they signed them, locked them in. They let certain guys go, or they let the heart and soul, two major guys, which are the heart and soul of the team, which is Freddie Freeman and Dansby Swanson. They both left, and those guys were. They were drafted by them. They were high round draft, like first round draft picks. Well, Freddie Freeman was, but they got Swanson a year after he was drafted, and Dansby Swanson was an Atlanta boy too. So like he's not just a homegrown, he's homegrown. So I mean, you got to get the right guys in the right place, which is why I think a lot of us we were very intrigued and very happy with starting 2016 with what we considered baby bombers then, that really didn't pan out, with the exception of Aaron Judge and maybe Sevy are the only ones that really kind of panned out from that whole group. Everyone else, something happened along the way, and injuries to a guy like Clint Frazier, who we traded. Gleyber Torres has had a roller coaster, up and down, 2 great years, 2 years, and then even leaving last year was kind of a roller coaster year where he wasn't that good, then he was really good. You take Gary Sanchez, and having 3 catching coaches in 6 years doesn't help him one bit. And putting all that pressure on him for the defense really affected his offense. Greg Bird injuries. Luke Voigt came, we'll take a Luke Voigt in there too, which we took a flyer on, and then he was always injured as well. And he was a one-trick pony with an offensive bat. But you had Stanton at DH, so you can't really put a Luke Voigt at a DH at that point. So I think having more athleticism, having younger guys who could make a mistake, but you put them up there and really just say, just play, just do what you're going to do. Play. Well, we can eat the mistakes we can eat the mistakes as long as it's not a continual mistake that's happening. I think you'll see a lot of growth and a lot of things going on, and then you pick and choose the right guys. You take. You see this year, you see what Peraza does, and then maybe you extend him 6 years at $150 million. Buy out all, or make it 8 years or something like that, because you want to buy out all of his arbitration years too. You just don't want to give him money for arbitration and let him walk away, which is why a lot of these guys are getting the 10-year deals at a young age. See what Volpe's supposed to be coming up this year. Spencer, rumors are Spencer Jones is really, really lighting things up in Tampa, especially in instructional leagues. The scouts down there really like them. We're going to see what he has to do, because now he's going to be a full season. He's just another year removed from his Tommy John surgery, which he had at the end of his high school career, and he's not a pitcher anymore. So he's got full arm strength back. We can see what that arm does in the outfield. He's got power. He's not like Aaron Judge power, but he's not the weight that Aaron Judge has, but he's what 220, 225. I mean, if he gets himself up to like 240, I mean, he still has speed, and then all of a sudden you put a little lift on that baseball. I mean, those line drives are just going to be flying out of the ballpark. So there's a lot to like in what the Yankees have going forward. But not everyone's going to hit. I mean, that's what prospects are. We're all dreaming that, everyone can sit here and dream that, Volpe and Peraza and Dominguez and Jones and Austin Wells are gonna be the core of a group coming up. It's a great dream, but at some point one of these guys one of them is gonna miss, and you got to bet on the one, and you got to make sure you don't bet on the guy that's missing.
Yep. Well, that's why I'm wearing my spring training hat, because today's kind of like that hope springs eternal. You're dreaming on these dudes to be like dudes. Like we hope that Mayea can turn out to be a perennial all-star. But when it comes down to like amateur scouting and player development, there's only two organizations in all baseball that do it the best, and it's two organizations that have been World Series winners, and they've consistently won the division every year, and it's the Astros and it's the Dodgers. So if we could tap into that, find out what they're doing player development wise, and make sure that our guys are doing what they need to do, especially on the international draft side. Look what the Astros do with Christian Javier, Jose Altuve, Framber Valdez. Like those three dudes are all international signee products from the Astros. You can even add in Yordan Alvarez, like who they got from the Dodgers for Josh Fields, like the relief pitcher that was a hard thrower back in the day. But like to make that trade and Yordan be who he is today, like no one saw that Yordan Alvarez is going to be like a 40-plus homer guy in the big leagues. So we kind of got to tap into that and see where we can make ourselves better and make our prospects perennial all-stars and impact players at the big league level. Because, the dudes that we signed besides, I'm going to go back to like 2015, 2016 time frame. Dermis Garcia, he was like the number one prospect, and we got him, and he's barely hitting 200 in the big leagues, So, you could just go down the line of guys who have been top prospects in the international signing period, and they turn out to be like quadruple A players. So I really hope that, like I said, 1 of 3 hit. If we go back to our dynasty, we had Jeter, right? Obviously, he was our first-round pick. And then we hit on the international draft with Mariano, with Bernie. We were able to get the low draft picks like Bernie, Jorge and Andy, and make them impact players. So in order for us to get back to the holy ground, right, getting back to a championship level contender, like we have to hit on these international prospects.
No, you're 100% right, and I think that's another. I want to say even feather in Cashman's cap, which is bringing back in Brian Sabian, who had an integral part in most of their development. Bernie Williams 100% had an integral part there. Big parts of Pettit, Mo, and Posada. I mean, a little bit with Jeter. I mean, he was kind of leaving when Jeter came in, especially during that time frame. So we had him helped them out for a little bit, especially as the head of scouting player development. So him and Omar Minaya, those two guys, we talked about in previous pods where their main thing is going to be checking out literally going top to bottom, checking out all of our minor leagues and kind of sifting through and seeing what we have there, what we don't. I can see Minaya kind of really taking the DSL guys under the wings. Mayea, even Roderick Arias, kind of really diving in with those guys and kind of helping push them forward. Roderick Arias, I expect him to be stateside this year. He was our top guy last year. He was foreign. Him and Christian Vaquero were last year's big guys that signed. So this was a good, from what it looks like, this is a good international class. But like you said before, I mean, there was a 2013, 2014, 2015. Well, 2000. There was a time where it was different, where we signed the Dermis Garcias and stuff and guys like that, and then you go over the allotment, and you don't care how much you go over the allotment. You just pay the tax on it. But then the following year, the next like 2 years, you got okay. Well, you can't spend over $300,000 on a person, so you basically lose out on that year and the year after. And then when everything changed, then you had the pools. You had 2028 where you signed a lot of guys like Kevin Alcantara. We had Antonio Cabello in that. Osio Rodriguez was there. We even got and Alexander Vargas because we were able to get more money where we kind of spread out. We spread it out, but even and Antonio Gomez was in that class as well. We spread out, but those guys haven't really. I mean, Alcantara has now moved on to the Cubs and he's doing well. Cabello's, I think he's out of baseball. I mean, he was traded for Rudnick Odor, and then he was released. So I mean, I don't even know what he's doing. I can't even find what he's doing nowadays. But the rest of those guys that kind of slow down. And Anthony Garcia was in that class too, and he's big. You know, Alex was talking about first base before. They moved him out of the outfield to play first base, and he's been in low A ball and strikes out a ton. But I mean, if he gets a hold of the ball, I mean, that thing flies. But that's where the development is kind of stopped. You got all these guys that were saying were good, were big, and they didn't make, and they're not making it. They're not crossing that threshold. But I think a lot of scouts and a lot of teams have, when they start identifying these kids at, dare I say, 12 years old, because they have been identified at 12 years old to come to play, and they've put them in the academies. They stay there. I mean, that's nobody. That's not a shock to anybody else. Some of them have the handshake agreements at 13, 14 years old that you come here, you sign here. We just make sure that we have the money for, if the money's not there, we're going to adjust. I mean, the rumors were always Mayea was supposed to be closer to a 5 million guy. And then it's kind of moved down the lower fours or close, 4.4 we said today, but it's just happens that way. So hopefully he, another good thing. I mean, Mayea was over in the Dominican Republic for a few years now. I mean, he was training with guys like Roderick Arias. Another guy that we're supposed to be signing this year during this time frame is Gabriel Terreo, the shortstop switch hitter from the Dominican. He's I've had some stats up here for him. He's 5'10", 155 pounds. So he's from Santo Domingo. So, I mean, and he's a 17-year-old guy as well. So, I mean, you'll see a lot of 17-year-olds now just because of the time frame of when they're signing. When it was July 2nd, they were always like 16, or you had to wait a few days and then go, okay, well, now he's turning 16 here. Wait like 6 months, and it's already, there was an agreement there but you got to wait for the official signing. But it's just you stock up on the guys. I mean, you stock up on your shortstop, stock up on your outfielders or center fielders, and you hope that they stick in positions. And if they don't, then you kind of move them. You move them to second base. You move them to third base. You move them from infield to outfield. You move the outfielders to the corners, or move them to first base or stuff like that. You have that option. But if guys that get the money, like a Dominguez, Jason is a he's a big body guy. He's gonna get every opportunity to play center field. Does he stay there? We don't know. Spencer Jones is a first-round pick. Austin Wells is a first-round pick. Trey Sweeney is a first-round pick. All those guys were sticking. Wells at catcher, Sweeney at shortstop, and Jones was playing center field too. Those guys were built for those spots. They'll get every opportunity to. They'll fail. They can fail for a little bit, but they'll get every opportunity to fail, and then time to move on. So it's a good day for the Yankees farm system. I think it makes them strong. It definitely makes them stronger again. Especially with a lot of graduations that are coming. Peraza is going to graduate this coming year. Volpe's supposed to be graduating this coming year, and then within the next, not just this year, but next year, then supposedly we'll have the Martian and Spencer Jones. Those guys will graduate. Austin Wells might be getting called up. He might, especially being possibly moved off as catcher, getting a little time at first, getting a little time in the outfield, kind of becoming that kind of stuff. So his bat can impact. So it's a good time. I like how they identify, they reset their farm system, they get the kids in there, and then you move and then try to push forward and get everything moving at that point.
How about a Adults Varsho, Austin Wells comp? I think Austin Wells' absolute best because Varsho is a great outfielder. He's a really good catcher. He's super athletic. But if Austin Wells could be even adequate to average in left and adequate to average at first with that bat, like, I'll take that because he's going to get you 20, 25 homers.
Oh yeah,
from the left side of the plate.
I'm all down on I would love Wells to come up there and learn to play first base. I think that would be a great move for him.
Yeah.
I think that spending a little bit of time in left field wouldn't be too bad. I mean, once in a while goes behind the plate, but his arm strength is not there. So I mean, he doesn't. So playing first base is kind of a great move for him. And he's played it in college. He played left field in college as well. So I mean, he has the pedigree to make those moves.
2 days a week behind the dish. That's all you really need from Austin Wells.
No, in the way the minor leagues are set up, you play 6 games a week. You play Tuesday through Sunday. So and you can kind of go each day moving around. You go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, catch your first left field, and then just rotate that again. Just keep that moving, and boom, and it gives him different times, and he doesn't have to take a day off. He can always be in the field playing.
Yep. I love that idea. I would hope that he's somewhere even closer to Dalton Varsho. That was a great pickup by the Blue Jays. I'm kind of a little perturbed by that.
Well,
their outfield defense is going to be really good.
But look what they had to give up for him. So I mean, you have to give up Gabriel Moreno. When you give up a Gabriel Moreno, that's when you know you got to go all in.
Yeah, Arizona they wanted like Volpe or Peraza for Varsho. Yankees like, chill, bro. We weren't gonna give those guys up for like Luis Castillo. Why would I give them up for Dalton Varsho? Get out of here.
Yeah, seriously.
Hang up the phone.
I mean, it's kind of like how the Pirates are, what they're asking for right now. It's like, gosh, what are they asking? They're asking for for Juan Soto deals for get out of here.
Juan Soto deals for a guy that they're only going to give $75 million to.
Yeah, get out of here.
Get out of here.
2.9 WAR. Like if we're gonna hate on Brian Reynolds in this situation, like just as collective unit, like a 2.9 WAR. Like, bro, you're not gonna give up the farm for a dude that can't even break a 4 or 5 WAR. Come on, get out of here. Not a chance. No way. Man.
They want the big lotto ticket already done. Well, they're in the area now. They're still buying those dollar scratch offs. That's what they're doing. Okay.
They're hoping and praying.
It's like, did I get $100? Oh, I got 100. Yes, I'm ready.
Dude, but I'll say one thing, man. The Rangers are all in on getting Brian Reynolds too, because the Rangers are in a win now mode. I mean, look at all the moves they had. They're dangling. I think the rumor is that they're dangling Jack Leiter out there. They're dangling Kumar Rocker out there. They said you can have. They have three top pitchers, and they can turn. They say take one of the 3. That's where we start the deal with. I mean, if you're gonna
and you guys are gonna talk all nice about the Rangers, but I'm gonna say it right now. By All-Star break, they're gonna realize we're bums, and they're gonna try to sell the farm.
Damn,
they got a lot of stuff up there. They got a lot of money there.
That starter rotation is really good.
They do.
They have a really good starter rotation. Oh, there goes Mark.
And we just lost them. Okay.
Bye-bye.
I guess I think the internet may did a hit on him. Maybe.
Yeah.
He should be back.
What's the Harry Potter one where she's like Expo Petroleum or whatever? I don't know. Harry Potter fans in the chat.
I don't know anything about that. That's the wife. The wife knows all about that one.
Expecto something. I don't know. Well, anyway, Marcus.
I don't know.
So we got.
But yeah, and then the other thing though, like back onto what Mark was talking about though, it's like it's really interesting the way he's explaining it about the whole how the signings are going like that nowadays. It seems a lot like how do I say it? Like soccer. Like international soccer, where you have international soccer, how they have all these signs and everything like that at very young ages, and then with these young ages that they're getting, it's that they're just holding onto their chips to see what happens, and then all of a sudden we got like a Messi and stuff like that out there. It's like, so I like what baseball as a whole is doing with these whole international signings, because they're trying to build up young compared to going like, sadly, at least for Yankee teams or like the higher end teams, it helps out. It sucks for a high school kid that's here in the States that's like, I wanted to play for the Yankees, and they know deep down they're not going to get drafted by the Yankees because the Yankees are never going to be able to get them. So at least I like the whole way that we're going for international wise.
Give me that money though. Like if you're a first round pick, like sorry man, I'll go to the Yankees as a free agent. If you really believe in yourself,
no doubt. But like no doubt. But like imagine it like as adults we understand that. But as a high schooler or even a middle school or as a middle school kid, you have this hopes and dreams, and then like I'm gonna get signed by the Yankees, and it's like I never got signed by the Yankees, or they signed some other guy in the first round, not me and the Yankees. And then they had that hate for the Yankees forever because they didn't get signed by them. And it's like, bro, it's not the Yankees' fault. The Yankees are just good. And if the Yankees would have had like NFL style 3 number 1 draft picks and they could have traded up for 3 number 1, okay, that's a different thing. But this is NFL, this is baseball, so it's not going to happen that way.
Well, hopefully in the next CBA they're going to start allowing to trade draft picks. That would make everything fun. That would make draft day for baseball a lot more fun.
Yes.
Imagine a talent like a Bryce Harper or Steven Strasburg is at the top of the draft, and the Yankees have a pool of like 4 or 5, like second or third, whatever the case may be, and they're like, "Yo, I'll trade you the farm for this number 1 draft pick." Oh my God, yo, that would be so
Forget
cool.
that, Danny, Mark.
So cool.
Look at it this way. Imagine in like 10 years from now that it's like Thursday night and we're watching baseball draft going on ESPN and all that kind of stuff. And it's like all of a sudden hearing that noise from ESPN, do. And it's all of a sudden it's like, what happened? Oh, the Yankees have traded up for the number 1 pick. Like what?
Yo, not even let's think of it. Yo, not even that, but think of how trade deadline is going to change if that happens too. Because then now you're not just talking about trading prospects. Then you can turn around and say, all right, I don't have to give up. The Reds were looking for Volpe. They were looking for Peraza. They were looking for a lot for Castillo, right? Mariners got him. What if the Mariners didn't have to give up both De La Cruz and Noelvi Marte? What if they gave up one of those guys and say, okay, you got my 2022 first round draft pick, or 2023 first round draft pick at that point, or give me 2023, 2025. You package those in there instead. Then you can turn around and go, okay, and then you kind of play the game like, oh well, I get 2 first rounders, I get more pool money, I get this, I get that, I get the other. I mean, it's something they gotta look at, and Manfred actually has to do something to actually push it since he wants to make the game better, and he's not really doing that much. Yeah.
But going back, if they were to do something like that, they also got to change. If that would happen though, they would have to change the date of when the draft is, because realistically, they can't do it throughout the season. They got to make it a big old spectacle. They'll have to do that at the end of during like February. I mean, not February. November, December time frame. No, November, December. They'll have to do that draft period for like the national draft. Because that way they can make a big old spectacle on TV and everything like that, and they won't be competing against themselves. Who are they going to compete against? Okay, let's not do it on a Thursday night. Let's not do it on a Sunday night, so that way we're not going to go against the NFL. Okay, basketball. No one's watching. No people are watching basketball this time in that time of year, but it's not like, oh my gosh, you're in full gear in basketball yet.
Yeah, but but those drafts happen during when you do it because you have all the college kids that are done playing. So
yes, but then that will give these college kids even more time to give them like the NFL, like a combine type thing, so that way they could even do more training and get better.
They do have combines.
They have a combine now.
But I'm talking about they could push it. So instead of their college thing, they could they're done with college, push it into this time frame. They could then do a big old combine like that.
Well, what they want to do is they want to have those guys in the system working and doing things like that summer. So like if you ever watch a lot of the big guys they go into because you have the FCL and you have extended spring training. Extended spring training is done, but you have the complex leagues. You throw all those guys usually in the complex leagues and then go, okay, they're too advanced for here. Let's start moving them, and then you kind of get them to do their thing. I get what you're saying.
But you don't want to fight you don't want to fight yourself when it comes to ratings either.
No, but you're only during that time. You're only against yourself. You're not against anybody else. So I mean, you do it on like you could do it during. I think what they're trying to do is do it like one of those down days during All-Star break. Yeah,
that could work.
I mean, that would be there's no sports going on. I mean, what you got MLS playing during that time, and that's on Apple TV, so that you don't even have the wide range of people watching it anymore. What? Going back to
do it Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was gonna
No,
say
go for
do
it.
it.
No, go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say do it the week after the winter meetings and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like the whole world is well, not the whole world, but a lot of people are so focused on the winter meetings and all those trades and everything, free agent signings. Why not throw the amateur draft pick in there? I mean the amateur draft
National
in
draft.
there. Yeah, that'd be cool.
And that would be it would work out because it would bring a light to the sport when the season's not going on. Like I get where Mark's coming from, and I get where MLB's going at it, that they do it throughout in the summer because they want to get people in there as quick as possible. But like, maybe it's time to like change ways a little bit. And like, let's say like, okay, you want to add more ratings. You want to make the sport more interesting that everyone's paying attention to it. Well, then everyone's going to pay attention to it at that point. Because let's be real, All-Star break, Hall Run Derby, All-Star game, and possibly you're watching the minor league All-Stars. If not, you're like, yeah, I don't really care. And if your favorite player is not in there, you're definitely not caring about the All-Star game at all.
It could definitely get saturated for the All-Star game. But you know, if you do it during like the winter, during the winter meetings, like what a better way to highlight? Yeah, what a better way to highlight your future players. Like there's nothing else going on in the middle of December. It's not even football playoffs. Like that's what you're saying. There's not much really going on with at least you're focused on something. So have that time to I want to say broadcast, but to showcase your top talent.
Showcase. Yep.
You know?
Exactly. Because like what we're gonna have in it's gonna come up next month or the month after. Basically, they're gonna have the NFL draft going to come, and that's gonna be a big spectacle going on TV. That everywhere we're gonna flip to, it's gonna be NFL draft, NFL draft, NFL draft.
Here's the flip side of the coin. Since we're talking all this stuff, also is that baseball needs to go backwards in a sense while moving forwards. They need to go back and say, give contracts to some of these guys and allow them to be on the 40-man roster off the jump. Because football, basketball, I mean, you put them right in the league right then.
Yes.
You turn around, put them on the 40-man roster, give them a contract with a 40-man roster right there. Then they're on a small time frame where they gotta go. So people are more invested. You're a
first round pick. You're a first round pick instead of having to go through the whole. Okay, you're jumping up all these hoops and all these hoops just to get into the club. It's like you're a first round pick. We believe that you have the capabilities and the talent to play for the club right now. And since we have that capability, okay, if you're a pitcher, congratulations. You, instead of being a starting pitcher, you made it into the rotation, into the bullpen. If you're a defensive, a shortstop, infield, outfield, okay, well, guess what? Now we're going to put you in there a little bit more in there and see how you do from spring training on. And if bam, halfway through the season, you didn't make it, well, sorry, buddy, we got to put you right back down to the minors. You're not going to cut it. Something like that.
So you telling me like a guy like Ben Joyce from Tennessee, who's throwing 103, almost 105, right-hand pitcher. Like,
that's a different person.
Putting him on a 40-man roster for, like, let's say the 80s.
That would be awesome.
Like how cool would that be? You know, just to have a guy like that, first-round pick, already on the 40-man. Hey, you know, you're competing for a spot in spring training, and come out of our bullpen, throw 105, and call it a day.
And it's definitely bringing it into a whole callback to how it used to be in a way too.
Mm-hmm. There are a bunch of dudes 18, 19, 20 making big.
I mean, I think if you're exactly. I mean those are the type of things you want to have. Then that brings more viewers to the sport, gets the kids again involved in the sport. I mean, unless you're baseball, like outside of there, it's not really looked at. And a lot of times, if you have the ability to do multiple sports, you're going to do multiple sports, and you're going to leave baseball because okay, I can get I can sign for $3 million, right, as a draft pick.
Dion.
But it's going to take me possibly 5 years to get. But it could take 5 years, and then that's when I turn around and I'm making $700,000, not even millions, not even $1 million, and then I got to wait another 3 years before I can even break the $1 million bank at that point. So I think that's going to have to change too. I think if you start them, get any first rounder has to be on the 40-man, gets a 40-man roster contract. That will shake up everything too.
That shit. College kids would be the onus. Like it kind of takes away the opportunity from the high school kids, but if you're top end talent, if you're top 5 pick out of high school, like bro, there's a good chance that you could be playing AA, AAA ball at 18, 19 years old. Like you don't like Bryce Harper could have played AA at 18, 19.
Yes.
Oh, he made some majors at 19, 20. Him
Exactly,
Trout, they all made it. They all jumped up. They all made it. They all went early in their teens. You know, A-Rod spent what, a year and a half in the minors.
In the minors, and that's it.
You know, Ken Griffey Jr. I think stayed a year in the minors and was playing big league in the big leagues. You know, like Mickey Mantle back in the day. All these guys
making them stay down there for so long it's a waste of their talents, and it's also a waste of like their window opportunity, because you don't know. None of us know what's going to happen today or tomorrow. None of us know.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you have a talent that's like a Ken Griffey Jr. type of talent out there, that's, oh my gosh, he's a 19-year-old and he could be playing right now, and he could be playing for us right now. And it's like, if you don't have that going on and you're going to keep him in there, like, well, he didn't make it a AAA yet, and he hasn't made it up there into the ranks yet. Nah, man, you're wasting a man's talent for him to like possibly injure themselves and like, you know, a fluke accident, stepping on the bag wrong, and oh no, their ankle sprained and blah blah. You know,
I got a flip side of the coin to this, because I love playing devil's advocate in most situations.
Oh, great, yay!
Right, guys like Ian Clarkin and Blake Rutherford and who's the lefty bat out?
Eric Jagielo. That's what you think of.
Oh, no, the other one.
Dante Bichette Jr.
Heathcock.
No,
Heathcock. So, but even all those dudes, imagine them taking a 40-man roster spot from a dude that actually earned it, that's been toiling in the minors forever, finally found his opportunity, and it's just like, all right, this first-round pick, he hasn't proven anything, but he's getting a 40-man spot, like, and those dudes like just absolutely being terrible. Like that would suck for the guys that are currently in the game. I understand the big picture of it, but if I'm a veteran, I'm like, why is this kid getting a 40-man spot and I'm not?
Well, that's the problem. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. That's where the MLB PA kind of looks at it, goes, well, we want all the guys that are playing to get this, not because all the minor leaguers are now getting in a union, but a draft pick's not in the union, so that's where you have to kind of play the game. That's why I'm saying a first round draft pick. That's what I'm saying. You limit it. A first round draft pick can get a 40-man spot. That's one 40-man spot on your roster.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like that's not like you're giving out your top 5 and then you really got to play the game. No, one spot, and you start off with one spot, see how everything works, see how the trends go. If it doesn't happen, then boom. But
and when it comes, and Danny, when it comes to your whole veteran players about like, oh my gosh, they're crying and everything like that. Well, if you're, guess what? Get good and don't suck. And guess what? You don't have to worry about a little high school kid taking your spot away. It's just get good.
Yeah, it's all about opportunity, man, to get to the big leagues, bro. Like, there's a whole bunch of dudes that are just nasty, but they're not in the right organization. They're not in the right situation. So,
but for those veterans that didn't make it to the big leagues, or they made it to the big leagues and then they got bounced back down to the minors. Well, I'm sorry, you got bounced back down for a reason. You didn't stay good. You got to get good again.
But that's why the quadruple A guys kind of then get pushed to the wayside. You don't keep a lot of the quadruple A guys on your team anymore because now you don't have the spots for them, and that's also why all those different levels of minor leagues kind of gotten away. But I do want to mention one thing. I mean, the big number today on the international side was Ethan Salas for the San Diego Padres. He was the number. I think everyone ranked him the number 1 guy. He got $5.6 million to play catcher.
God.
$5.6 million. He got the bag today.
Well, I don't want to cut you off, but I have seen videos of he is disgusting behind the plate.
That's what I'm saying. That's why he.
Oh my God.
That's why he's number 1. Like there was a time, let's go back to 2019 when Dominguez got 5.1, and then you had Robert Puason who got 5.1 from the A's. Well, guess what? Robert Puason's not even in anybody's top 30 for the A's. I don't even think he made it. I don't even think he's in the top 50 anymore for them. Like that's how much he's fallen off. He had to stop batting. He was a switch hitter at shortstop. He had to stop batting lefty because he couldn't bat. I mean, there was a lot of he fell apart, but a catcher that can stick behind the dish, he's part of that new future. I mean, he's 17 years old. I mean, Padres could push him. I mean, Padres are in a win now mode right now. I mean, just think about if they can re-sign Soto, if they keep Tatis Jr. You got Xander Bogaerts who can switch over to third base when Manny possibly leaves at the end of this year. I mean, they got a core right there, and then bring up a young kid in like a couple of years, 4 years. I mean, to add to that list. I mean, that's money in the bank right now for that. Money in the bank.
5.6 million. Holy cow! I didn't think it was going to be that high. I didn't expect the Padres to spend essentially their whole pool on one kid.
I mean, 4.7 for Philen Celestine. I mean, for the Mariners. I mean, there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys that got their bag today.
Yeah, good for them.
No, absolutely, for all those guys. Yeah, I mean, this is what they trained for. This honestly from usually like 12 years old. I mean, I remember the stories about Gleyber Torres. Like the family took him out of school at 12 years old. Said, "Okay, you're baseball. That's what you're doing." Yeah. Dominguez, 12 years old. Schooling was done at that point, and now your schooling is now you're. Yeah, so
it's like I brought up earlier. Said about the whole like international soccer. Got these little teenagers that are just like getting sun, and it's like their life just becomes soccer. These guys life became
no doubt, and some of the and they get the bag too. I mean, there's this kid from Brazil right now. I think he's called Frederick or Endrick or something like that. He signed with Real Madrid. When his transfer fee is $60 million, and he's getting a cut of that money. 60 million, not even dollars. I'm sorry, 60 million euros. So it's even more. And he's 16 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right,
my daughter needs to start playing soccer right now.
Dude, I got my son.
You say he's in Brazil, right? You say he's in Brazil, right?
He's in Brazil, and then when he's 18,
let's go take a flight down to Brazil and let's go find him and jump him.
Dude, at 16 years old, and when he turns 18, he moves on. He goes over to Spain and plays
Gosh.
Wow, that guy's gonna be living the life,
dude. Like, especially on that team. I mean,
we're not a soccer podcast.
We're not a soccer pad. But today there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of kids because the kids too. And mind you, we're not even talking about like the 20 to 25-year-olds who come over, especially from the Asian markets too. They are part of this pool as well. That's right. So those guys get some bag too. But most of the time, you throw a lot of money at the younger guys. I mean, Dominican players are always pretty big. Venezuela's coming up in these markets as well. But Dominican Republic is usually where you have a lot of stuff because you also have Dominican summer leagues there, which kind of acts as more of a camp to get more of the prospects and have the scouts and have the Boscones that are down there kind of helping feed everybody towards certain people and say, okay, I got this guy, or come to my tryouts, take a look here. Last year we had these conversations as well when we talked about Arias. I mean, it's still kind of it's still the wild west down there, but it's getting better. But as long as it improves, I still don't. There has to be some major concessions by MLB going for, kind of wrapping this into an international draft as just signing day. International MLB will have to give major concessions in order for them to get the draft because they fought hard. They tried to break the union. The union's like, nope, I'm not doing it. Don't care what you think. And that's where it's going to be. I mean, I think the players union understands that a lot of that amount of guys are coming from Latin America or overseas, so they want to grow that a lot. So, I think that does it for us today. Don't forget everyone. Thank you for listening to us on five. Oh, sorry, it's been sick all week too. But 5 Reasons Sports Network. Everyone who listens overseas, everyone, don't forget to catch us all anywhere you get your podcasts available. Don't forget to check out our link tree, link.tree/Real Bronx Muchachos for everything you want to get. For Alex, Danny, myself, and for Dave, who wasn't able to make it today, Bronx Muchachos signing off. Later, everyone.